I don't know how many men are out there now that have had a massage that perhaps occasionally there was a happy ending. All right? Maybe there's nobody in your listening audience that ever happened to. I do want to point out, if it has happened, it's not a crime. Okay? Unless you are paying somebody extra or so to give you some type of sexual activity, it's not a crime. And so at the end of the day, that's another thing that would affect conduct. Doing something or saying something or being a way that makes you uncomfortable is not a crime. And so we've had two grand juries find that, and nobody seems to want to listen.
That's such a fucking ridiculous defense. It's not a crime. I'm pretty sure it is.
I think
it's let's go ahead and give context.
Go ahead.
That was Deshaun Watson's lawyer, Rusty Hardin, on an interview, live on radio, giving that explanation of why it's not illegal.
It's not illegal for Deshaun Watson to be getting sexual favors at his massages, is specifically what he's talking about. And I'm going to go on record here and say I'm pretty sure it is illegal. They arrest people for this all the time. It's a bold argument to make.
It is
to make as a lawyer and put it on wax on the radio.
I just don't know what his the thought process was. Maybe because he knew that more allegations were going to come out, and so he was like, "This is his way of getting ahead of it." But that's still ridiculous.
This is just a terrible argument. Listen, what he's doing, if he's not asking for it, if it just happens, and then when he prefaces it with, I don't know how many of you guys are getting happy endings on your massages because it's a normal thing, right? He's trying to make it oh, Deshaun's such a relatable guy, because what guy isn't getting jerked off at the end of his massages? It's no, Rusty, no one's getting the massages to the level of Deshaun, and not all these guys are getting happy endings just thrown at them.
Too, so have you seen the Netflix documentary, and they made it a show on HBO Max? I think it's called The Stairway or The Staircase. Have you seen that?
No.
Well, essentially this older woman falls down the stairs, and it looks like a major crime scene. And they blame the husband because they're realistically, how much blood could someone lose if they fell down the stairs? They had to he had to beat the shit out of her. But it goes into a really long process and all that. And I was talking with someone about the law isn't the lawyer's not there to argue right and wrong. The lawyer's there to argue hey, so this law, the way it's stated, is in favor of my client because of this, and it's up to the prosecutor to make sure that the law is upheld. And if by word this real calculated wording, it's right, then we gotcha. And I think that's kind of the play he's doing right here, is wording it very carefully. But when you you just have those hypotheticals where it's if I was the lawyer, what would I do here? I think he knows Deshaun Watson's a piece of shit. So he's just trying to pull every trick out of the book that he can.
I think this is I'm seeing what you're trying to say about his logic of oh, I'm trying to get out of this on a technicality or terms wise of how we're talking about this. But his argument is some Amber Heard level bullshit, the way he's trying to frame this. And I just think even if, okay, let's run with that argument that's what they're going to stick with, is Deshaun had 60 something plus
66
masseuses
in 17 months.
In 17 months. And 24 of them are basically confirmed that there was some sexual something going on. So, and he's trying to say
more than 24. So 24 have come out and done a civil suit. But there was other women that had come out and done solely criminal charges that didn't get picked up. And then there was others that had come back and forth and been like, hey, you know what? Like, this actually happened. I don't want to pursue it. I'm actually just like, I just want to be done with it. Like, they just didn't want to deal with the fame and all that Deshaun Watson has. And did you catch that at the end when he was talking about like, oh, well, if it makes you feel uncomfortable, that is not a crime. That's a fucking, if it's like in a sexual way, it's a crime, bro.
Yeah.
Like, but whatever, whatever. He's a piece of shit. I think
alleged.
He's like a piece of shit. Regardless, he's a piece of shit.
He's not coming off great.
Yeah, I mean, because he's not like, he's not a good person.
I'm not trying to vouch for him. I'm just trying to say it's all allegations for now. I don't. It's hard to give someone benefit of the doubt, like innocent till proven guilty, when the cards are so stacked against him at this point, like of his own doing. At worst, I think he's a guy that had a kink and was using his place of privilege, his place of power, to initiate sex or sexual things with these women, which is wrong. Like, you're abusing your status.
Yeah, 100%. And I think too, like, the Browns are a shit organization and they deserve whatever sanctions or whatever penalty the league decides to levy. I hope they do something to the Browns. Just because they did a deal with the devil here. Like, they made it to where even if he does get suspended the entire year, he's only going to lose out on $1 million. So he's still going to have access to that $229 million left on his deal. How crazy is that, dude?
If you're the rest of the league, you're looking at the Browns and you want them to fail terribly, because every other quarterback is looking at Deshaun Watson's deal and saying, I have no issues. I'm better than him. I've played the last year, maybe the last 2 years after next year, if he gets suspended for a full year. I deserve more guaranteed money than him. Mm-hmm. And so this needs to be a crash and burn situation for the rest of the league to still keep their quarterbacks within reason of their contracts, even though it's ridiculous already.
Or do you think this just becomes the Christian Kirk deal?
It's just an outlier.
It's like, yeah, whatever. Like, fuck it. That happened. Cool. But that's not us. Like, yeah, we got to focus on this.
When quarterbacks deals come up, they're not going to say that. They're going to use this to their advantage. They're going to say Deshaun Watson got $230 million guaranteed after 24 cases got thrown on him. I've been a model citizen and I played well. Give me $250 million guaranteed.
Lamar Jackson's going to cash out, bro.
I mean, I've been hearing stuff about him, like he's just upset there. Supposedly, people are saying he wants to be in Miami eventually, that he wants to go to Miami to play there. I think he's from there.
I think he is.
Yeah, so he wants to go back home. I don't know. It's just weird that he hasn't gotten a deal set with the Ravens yet. They want to make a deal. He wants to make a deal, supposedly.
I heard he doesn't want to make a deal. So I heard that they are trying to get it to where he has like the Kirk Cousins option, where he's like, yeah, fuck it, tag me. And then go ahead and tag me again. But I'm not signing anything long term. And then he cashes out for guaranteed money.
Yeah, and it's hard. He's kind of unpredictable at this point because his mom is his agent. So, I mean, they're not. They're not using like the cookie cutter strategies with negotiations here. Like, the Ravens really don't know what they have on their hands. So
yeah,
it could go any way.
But like, if it works, it works. Like, good for you. But it's really, really risky, especially with his play style.
Yeah, I mean, he missed a lot of last season.
Consistently healthy. Like, it's going to be tough, but I mean, he has a lot more like pelts on the wall than a lot of quarterbacks. You know what I mean?
He's going to get paid. It's just depends on where it's at. Like Baltimore, Miami, somewhere else. He's going to get paid.
Yeah.
He's still young. He's has an MVP already.
MVP, multiple playoff appearances, a playoff win.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, he has a lot more on the pelts on the wall than like Stafford did last year.
Where do you think Deshaun Watson is going to rank in the quarterback rankings when he comes back? Because he could be potentially out of the league for 2 years when he comes back.
I'm even thinking longer.
I don't think the NFL would do longer than one full season.
I don't know. We'll see, dude. What if this what if the cases aren't even done yet?
They're not going to be.
So then what are they going to do?
Florio was saying that the cases now that they're piling up even more, they're definitely going to go into 2023 with cases still unresolved.
So then how could you even make the decision to suspend him when you don't know? Like, what if they you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like,
they either have to let him play and suspend him later, or they were saying maybe this, like, I think Trevor Bauer had like a situation where he got suspended a certain amount and then they waited till after the case is resolved and then they furthered the suspension. They suspended him like 2 years. Yeah. But they did like a temporary suspension and they were like, but more's coming when we know
they did
exactly.
The temporary suspension and then they levied the 2 year.
Yeah.
And I think they were like, well, whatever like we giving now, that's like starting now. And your past time served we don't give a shit.
Yeah. I mean, he did some messed up stuff. I mean, it's kind of, I think it's kind of weird that Deshaun's not getting, what do you call it? Like criminal charges or anything like that. It's just civil cases. And that's kind of,
I don't know.
Well, that's kind of where the line of people are saying put him on the exempt list. But I guess the commissioner's exempt list is usually for criminal cases. It's not going to criminal court. It's a civil case. They don't normally do that for civil cases. But this is like a rare instance where I think they could use the exemption and be justified in that.
Well, yeah, I mean, who knows when he comes back and what he looks like. Especially, like, this is one of those, like, the NFL, you don't get better by, like, watching film. You don't get better by sitting out. And it's like, to be away from the game that long, no matter how long it is, even if he were to come back this season, he's going to have some rust. But it's looking like he's not going to be back. I don't know. I hope not. But
I hope this isn't a situation where he gets 6 games and he's able to like lead the team to playoffs this year. I want there to be at least a full season suspension. I think that's kind of where I'm fitting in and where I would be okay with that. I think either way, people are going to complain. People are going to say he should got 2-3 years banned. Some other people are going to say that he shouldn't get any games or he should get like 4 games. So it's just like either way, people are going to get upset. I think a season is harsh for like NFL standards because they don't normally suspend people for a full season. So I think it'd be a pretty good punishment for this situation.
Yeah. I don't know what I want. Yeah, I don't know. I just keep going back and forth on it. I think they should sit him down this season. Yeah, even if it's on the exempt list. Again, he's only getting paid $1 million this year. So, like, if it's going to be any year, make it this year. And then suspend his ass next year.
Yeah, I just hope he comes back and is not a top 10 quarterback and the Browns look terrible. Because how are they, like, justifying to themselves making this trade, paying him so much, and then trying to roll him out there this season when fans, like, hate him? Like, you're going to make the face of your franchise. You're going to force him on your fans. And I don't know how the Browns fans feel about it, but I would not like it if he rolled out there for the 49ers this season.
Football karma. I feel like football karma is going to happen.
Yeah, football god's going to roll it back.
Yep, we'll see what happens.